The most dangerous mistake you can make is trusting the weakness of someone who has nothing to lose. While everyone in the room laughed at Oz Cobb, he was quietly measuring their necks. Watch how it works. You lower your guard around a man because he seems harmless, a little pathetic even. You talk freely in front of him. You complain. You hand him the small truths you'd never give a rival. And months later, every one of those truths is a knife. And he's the only one holding the handle. If that has ever happened to you, you weren't paranoid and you weren't a bad judge of people. You were being managed. It's called weaponized underestimation, letting you look down on him so you'll never actually look at him. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Nobody runs it better than Oz Cobb. In The Penguin, they call him a name he hates, a name built to mock the way he limps. They treat him as the driver, the joke, the heavy man who fetches coffee for real gangsters. And one funeral at a time, one favor at a time, he steps over every last one of them. Unlike Littlefinger, who used chaos, or Cersei, who played the victim, Oz uses something quieter, contempt. He lets you feel superior, right up until the moment he owns you. By the end of this, you'll spot two moves, in the show and in your own life, and know exactly how to shut them down. The first one softens you. The second one chains you. Let's open the vault. The first move is the humble trap. He makes himself small on purpose. Here's how it works. People guard their words around someone they respect and drop them completely around someone they pity. So he plays down. He absorbs the insult. He laughs at his own limp before you can. He acts like he can't quite follow the room while he's reading every single person in it. The lower he sits, the more you reveal, because it never once occurs to you that the man beneath you is keeping score. Watch what Oz does. He lets powerful people treat him like furniture, nodding along, just the driver, harmless, while he memorizes who's weak, who's lying, and who's about to fall. Fans will remember the young man who catches Oz in something he should have died for, and instead of ending him, Oz pulls him close. The joke is never just a joke. The joke is what he needs you to see, and that's exactly how it shows up in your life. No crime family required. It's the coworker who doesn't really get how any of this works, so you do it for her, while she quietly learns everything you know. It's the friend so self-deprecating, so harmless that people gossip freely in front of her, and she walks out holding everyone's secrets. It's the guy who plays the underdog in every room, so nobody ever thinks to watch him. You feel safe because he seems beneath you. That feeling is the whole trap. Here's how you defend yourself. Stop reading how small someone acts and start asking who benefits when you underestimate them. Playing small is a position, not a fact. So make it a rule. Never say anything in front of the harmless one that you wouldn't put in writing, and watch whether the helplessness is selective. Is he clueless about the task but razor sharp about who's up and who's down? Real humility doesn't keep a ledger. If someone's weakness always leaves them holding your information, that isn't weakness. That's a strategy wearing weakness like a coat. Remember what Oz understood. You don't have to be the strongest man in the room if you can convince everyone you're the weakest. They'll hand you the knife themselves. Ask yourself right now, who in your life do you tell everything to? Simply because they seem too harmless to matter? That was move 1. It lowers your guard. Move 2 is where he sets the hook. It's the dead anchor. And it's the one that really holds you down. Here's the psychology. Human beings can't stand owing someone. It itches. We'll pay a favor back at 2, 3 times its size just to make that feeling stop. He has a word for that itch: leverage. So he gives a rescue, a favor you never asked for, a problem solved that he often quietly created. And he makes sure it looks like it cost him everything. Now you're not a friend anymore, you're a debtor. Watch Oz do it. He spares a life he was sent to take and wraps it in mercy, loyalty. I'm sticking my neck out for you. From that moment, the boy owes him his safety, his future, his silence, and Oz spends that debt again and again. Fans will remember how often the sentence comes back around. After everything I did for you, that sentence is the anchor. He isn't asking, he's collecting. And here it is. in your life. It's the friend who was always there for you years ago and reminds you every single time she wants you to drop your plans for her now. It's the boss who took a chance on you, so somehow you owe him your weekends forever. It's the partner who rescues you from a crisis, sometimes one he engineered, and spends the rest of the relationship cashing it in. You stop making choices. You start making payments on a debt that never reaches zero. Here's your defense. Separate two things that get glued together: a gift and an invoice. A real gift has no due date, so watch the favors you didn't ask for, the help that arrives too eager, too generous too soon. And when the bill finally comes, say it plainly. I'm grateful for what you did. It doesn't obligate me to this. A healthy person can hear that. A manipulator will act betrayed because to him, the favor was never a favor. It was a down payment on you. Think of the most generous person who ever made you feel trapped. Now ask yourself, did the generosity ever once arrive without a string attached? Here's the part almost everyone misses, and it's the hardest truth in this whole video. Under the driver, under the jokes, under the favors, Oz Cobb isn't calm. He's terrified of being small. The limp, the name he hates, the childhood no one ever let him forget. Every rung he climbs is that same boy, still running from the room that laughed at him. This is compensatory narcissism. Not the loud king who thinks he's a god, but the wounded man who has to control the entire room so he never has to feel worthless again. And here's how you'll recognize it, long before anyone's near a throne. Watch how he takes a small joke or a light criticism. A secure person lets it pass. This one flinches and then remembers it for years. The need to dominate isn't strength. It's an old humiliation that never healed, now pointed at everyone around him, which is the cruelest part of the whole thing. The weakness is often real. He really was underestimated. He really was hurt. That is exactly why the trap works. Your compassion isn't wrong. It's just being spent by someone who's counting on it. And if a face just came to mind, someone everyone underestimates who somehow always ends up in control, drop the word umbrella in the comments. I read every single one. So here's the lesson under both moves. The answer isn't to go cold and decide that everyone who looks weak is faking it, that just turns you into him. The answer is to stop reading single moments and start reading the pattern. One humble man proves nothing, but someone whose weakness always leaves them holding your secrets, whose every favor turns into your obligation. That's not a small man. That's a careful one. Two things to carry out of the vault. First, don't measure how small someone acts. Ask who benefits when you underestimate them. And second, separate the gift from the invoice. You can be grateful for help and still owe no one your life. You don't beat an Oz Cobb by becoming one. You beat him by refusing to mistake quiet for harmless, and by watching the people you were told were beneath your attention. Subscribe to The Vault. Next time, we open the file on someone colder still. And if that face is still sitting in your chest, you already know the word to leave below. Until then, watch the ones you underestimate.